What's your game like now?
Well, do you know what? I hate to big myself up, but let's face it, Jesse, who else is going to do it? So I might as well. I think now No Limit Hold'em is certainly my game, and I believe I've got a very complete game. Well, certainly in the early stages, gathering chips, I kind of got that covered. It's very, very unlikely that I won't go through the first day and build up some chips.
Is practicing and playing a lot, is that the best way to work on your game?
It's huge. For me, it's the only thing. I mean, obviously, I sit and think about things and play things over in my mind. But I'm not a reader. I'm a thinker about the game. I talk about the game to certain people, and I certainly watch and I study. And I do think there's no substitute for experience. And I'll tell you something. A little while ago, a couple of years ago in Europe, we were all saying, "My God, it's getting really hard. Everyone can play now." And what are you going to do? What's your edge? But now I feel the opposite, because you go to the States and you play one of these big events with all these satellite winners. A lot of them have never played a tournament, a big tournament in their life before, and the edge gets bigger and bigger. And that edge is more than anything is experience. Maybe some of it's natural ability, but mostly it's experience. And I expect to get to the late stages of these tournaments, pretty well every time. And that's the other thing, Jesse. Beginners. What a beginner is so completely changed in the last couple of years. It used to be you could spot a beginner. He'd sit down. He's read his book. He knows what the starting hands are. He'll probably line his cards up really neatly. And if you raise him, he'll put you on aces and he'll pass. If he enters a pot early, you can get him down to free hands. These people could be pushed around. Now a beginner is someone who has watched the World Series and the WPT finals on TV, and all he's ever seen is like lump it in, and he thinks that's what the game is. And he can't release King 10 suited for an all-in raise at the first level, So it's frightening.
But does that take the game to a new level, or does it?
It makes the game different. I mean, the game has always been about adjusting, reading people, categorising people, trying to get them to think the wrong thing about you. And now there's just some other people that you've got to figure out. And there's always been pitfalls. There's always been an element of luck in this game. There wouldn't be a game otherwise. And I think there's never been a better time to be playing.
You, as a Hendon mobster, you received one of the biggest sponsorship deals at that time in poker history.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, it's incredible. I mean, we were knocking on the door for a long time. We started our website. We were getting onto late night poker. We were doing well. We were talking about ourselves, getting written in papers, and we had a lot of false starts for sponsorship. And a lot of long negotiations that fell through for various reasons, and nobody really knew whether it was a goer, big sponsorship in poker. And when it finally happened, it was so easy, it was so right.
There's begrudgers. They say the Hendon mob now has an unfair advantage buying into tournaments.
That's right. It's great, isn't it?
What do you think about that as far as poker goes? Do you think?
Listen. I mean. What people don't understand. I mean, of course, there are millionaires. There are people who are backed. There are people who are playing with their last dollar. People who are borrowing money. One of the things that I always had in my game was somehow or another, I was able to play as if I had money when I didn't, and I was able to forget about the amounts and not feel the pressure. In a funny way, of course, it's a great advantage. We know it's not our last tournament. We can keep coming back. It's a fantastic advantage. On the other hand, there is a lot of responsibilities and a lot of pressure and a lot of additional things. Sometimes you've got to get up in the morning and do a radio interview, or you've got to shepherd some satellite winners around and give them some tips, and you'd rather be having a swim or resting, getting another hour in bed. I'm not complaining. We're so lucky. It's unreal.
But also, if you look at others in Europe, do you feel like you've paved the way for others who have now gotten sponsorship deals?
Well, don't ask me. Don't ask them. I mean, we get people coming up to us and shaking our hands and thanking us almost every day, because yes, we have paved the way. And it's not like someone else wouldn't have done it if we hadn't done it.
Are you in poker for the long haul now, or could you see yourself doing something else?
I'm almost finished with the long haul. I love the game, Jesse. I absolutely love it. I mean, I've done a lot of things in my life, and I will continue to do a lot of things. And at various times, my personal life looms much larger than my poker life. all the rest of it. And you know, I want to do a lot more writing. I want to do a lot more commentary. But you know, I don't think that I'll ever, if I can crawl to the World Series, if I can crawl to the Bellagio main event, I don't think, you know, there's ever a way that I voluntarily won't be playing in those big no limit tournaments.